Welcome back to Journey to Be An Astronaut podcast, where we talk about anything, everything astronaut, space, and adventure. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Artemis Program, which is the Artemis Program is the NASA program to get back to the moon and eventually to Mars. The Artemis program is broken up into a bunch of different subsets. You have the ground system, you got the launch pad and the tower. You have the space launch system, which is the most powerful rocket. Then you have the Orion, which is similar to the Soyuz. And you have Gateway, which is adjacent to the International Space Station, the Lunar Lander, which is self-explanatory, and then you have the Artemis generation spacesuits. So, the SLS has its own, web page and all that stuff, but I found the fact sheet. And this thing is kind of cool, not gonna lie. I mean, this thing is huge. I mean, you have 4 RS-25 engines with 2 solid rocket boosters. And then on the top of the thing, we're looking at a interim cryogenic propulsion stage. We have a spacecraft adapter. You got your service module, crew module, and then your launch abort system. And then all of that stuff is part of the Orion crew vehicle. And so what are we looking at here? So Block 1 consider more than 26 metric tons or 57,000 pounds beyond the moon. So it's getting powered by twin 5-segment solid rocket boosters and 4 liquid propellant engines. And once it hits space, that's where the interim cryogenic propulsion stage sets in, and that's where it travels to the moon. Which, in retrospect, most of the distance they'll be traveling, they're just going to be, kind of gliding across in space through. Because, it's a vacuum, and when they get back, all they got to do is re-enter. But most of their travel time will be, if you put it into perspective, the moon is very, very far away. It's over 200,000 miles, I think. So it's pretty wild, honestly. This is the stuff that makes it exciting about space and the travel part of it. And then we have Block 2, which provides 11.9 million pounds of thrust, and that is the workhorse vehicle part of it. This is the rocket booster parts, and it's designed to lift over 99,000 pounds to deep space. So this thing is a freaking missile. Honestly, this is explosive. It's so cool. Alright. So if we put all of that into a little bit of the building process, we're looking at, when it first started off, you had the SLS Block 1 crew, and then that only had over 26 tons of 500, no, sorry, scratch that, 57k pounds of thrust. But now we're looking at a payload volume in the SLS Block 2 cargo with a maximum thrust of 11.9 million pounds from the original 8.8 million pounds. Yep. And then we have the Orion, which is the Americans' version of the Soyuz, and the Orion is the upper portion of the SLS here. You got the launch abort system, the crew and service module, the encapsulated service module panels, the spacecraft adapter, and the propulsion device. So it's a little bit of a beast as well. So for a couple days they're gonna have to live in the Orion while they travel over, so they're gonna have to have, they're gonna have to have a bed thing, which we covered in one of the last podcasts. They don't really have a bed. They kind of have like a kind of square space that they float in, and a little sleeping bag. Let's see. Yeah. And then we have Gateway, which is the ISS equivalent around the moon. This is where we're going to be able to send robots and human astronauts down to the space station. Or down to the moon's moon's surface, while we yeah, and it's getting built by not only NASA and government institutions, but it's taking in private industry as well. So we're getting a whole lot out of even making it in the first place. And it'll be assembled around the moon as well, just like the ISS was. So, and it took the ISS quite a while to be built up. It started with Mir, the Russian space station, and then we were able to attach, the Japanese, the ESA modules, and the American modules. So it's really gonna pick up speed as we start constructing Gateway. And then the Artemis generation spacesuits. On their website, they have to you have to apply to see the information about the spacesuits. So it's kind of they probably wouldn't let me through on that one. So I'll let you guys do your own research there. I'll throw it, if you want, I can throw it into the description as well. Make it a little easier on everybody. Yeah, and then finally the lunar lander module. That's kind of hard to say, not gonna lie. Lunar lander module. It's kind of similar to what we did in 69, but we're creating better ones that are set up for modern technology that really kind of work with the kind of work we're trying to get done. So it's gonna be interesting to watch. So this has been Journey to Be an Astronaut podcast. Stay safe.